Namaste and welcome to Boomer Bharat with Rama Shiv Kumar, founder CEO SRK Game Changers, where we bring you a new update each week on GCC. SRK Game Changers is a GCC consulting services organization providing advisory, governance, and setup services across talent, business operations, and workplace solutions. We deliver customized, high-performing global capability centers that encourages AI and digital innovation. We leverage the expansive skill talent pool whom the next generation leaders and make GCC an indispensable part of the corporations. Our tailored workplace solutions build technology as core foundation. And these days, you guys are hearing about AI Impact Summit. So AI is a buzz, and that's where we do help mid-sized companies how that they can make themselves also technology strong. Viewers, thank you so much for the encouraging remarks and for recognizing the distinctness of our podcast format and the themes we explore with our guests. Your feedback reinforces our belief that these conversations are really timely and making meaningful for the GCC ecosystem. Today, so we again have a very unique guest, a very well-known person and a veteran in the industry, not veteran by age, but yes, veteran by the experience, Reena Sharma. She's like over 2 decades of or diverse experience across different facets in the IT industry and currently working with TechWave. So, Reena, welcome to Boomer Bharat.
Thank you. Thank you, Rama, for having me.
Yeah. So, I would request, Reena, if you could introduce yourself for our audience.
Absolutely. Namaste. My name is Reena Sharma. I'm Managing Director for TechWave, which is a global services organization. We locate all IT services across ERP, data, AI, and managed services and the like. So GCC is a very strong and emerging new vertical for us. So much so that we have separate teams addressing the same. While I've been outsourcing for almost 2 decades, like Rama mentioned, the expectation and the conversations are absolutely different from your typical traditional outsourcing place. So very excited to be here and talk to Rama about this.
Yeah. So thank you so much. And once again, Reena, welcome to Boomer Bharat. And as we all hearing about a lot of things about AI, what it could cause, can create important stuff for us in terms of, being strategic partners. So we are looking at, today's podcast theme. We are actually looking at strategic leadership in the age of GCC growth, winning through customers, capability, and culture. And I think we could not have anybody else except you, Reena, who could talk about this. So once again, welcome to our podcast. So Reena, I would just like to check, understand from you. GCCs have clearly evolved strategic value centers now. From your experience working with a global organization, what really drove this shift? And how is a modern GCC measured today?
You're absolutely right, Rama. They have changed, and how, the earlier they were maybe transactional hubs, and a lot of the traditional outsourcing was cost oriented, if I may say, and no harm done. It gave us a big booming industry. But modern value centers are designed differently, and they're looking at what is the outcome, how can they build value for the HQ, and they are not a satellite center doing some transaction processing work anymore, but actually a value creation or innovation center. The new ones are being designed as such, and the older ones are adapting to be such. So what are they measured on is very different. So yes, they are measured on revenue, but what is their contribution to revenue? What is the EBITDA they can bring? What is the innovation? What products can be developed out of India? How many patents could we, file from the R&D teams here? So we are actually think tanks for the world. What is the ROI you can get from automation or from AI? How much can you contribute to the talent portion of it? What leadership roles could you fill from India? What is the CSAT you could drive from India? So how can you help me go to, improve my GTM or hear my customer better? The roles are, the KPIs are very, very, very different. And almost 10 to 30% of innovation pipelines today, enterprise innovation pipelines are driven out of India GCCs. Now you call them GCC, GVC. I'm sure there'll be some other nomenclature soon, but it's an actual change. So that, earlier, traditionally, you and I both have been in this industry a really long time. The headquarters was headquarters, and you just did what you were told here. And that's how I started my career when I used to code. But now you will have the decision makers here. So if I may say, India is the new on-site. You will see so many expats move to India to work in roads rather than the reverse brain drain we used to see in India traditionally. So absolutely, the KPIs are very, very different. So it's all about what outcomes, what impacts, what innovation can they drive.
I think that's a very good point, Rina, what you mentioned about in terms of, how the KPIs are differentiating you more about the R&D side. In fact, yesterday was at the Pune International Center and a lot of think tanks, were there. And like Rama Jayanti was there. You were talking about Dr. Krishna, who developed the, COVID vaccine. And a lot of discussion is happening, how science has kind of evolved and how our ecosystem has also evolved. So that's a very point that you brought about related to. I would just like to also understand what are the key ingredients that are helping Indian GCC deliver this differentiation and drive loyalty.
Absolutely. So we always had the talent. So yes, of course, talent density is a given, but we have the talent by way of, traditionally anyways been for outsourcing. We have been upskilling, reskilling, and learning, whichever, whatever the new term is. So we have the skill depth, we have the talent density, and this is high quality talent, readily available and across the country. So our metros are choked. Let's go to tier two, tier three. There is no dearth of talent. There's no dearth of good quality talent. Two is the domain depth. Be all the domains that they are looking. So now a lot of R&D centers, I think, in majorly engineering centers, are GCCs or AI led or data led or cybersecurity led centers. So we have a lot of those people already available. But rather than only the domain portion, I would say the context that they are able to bring, the actual business context, because you also have the people, the leaders who have run these things, who have worked across the world, who can bring the business flavor into the work that is done here. And that makes all the difference. Then, of course, the cultural integration. So traditionally, we are hard workers. It's all Southeast Asians. It's no, it's almost become a kind of cultural nuance. Even if you go abroad, the good students are the Indian and the Chinese and so on and so forth. So the culture integration as well. So of course we work hard, but we are balancing the global and local culture part really well. I think the way the support systems we are able to give our people in India, and then the government support. Right, the government wants this growth. They want the jobs for our people here rather than our youth going abroad. So the SEZ, the other schemes, the Viksit Bharat, the Digital India, the actual support to build or bring these to India. Again, I think it's a big play. Then what drives loyalty? I think willingness to own the business outcome, transparency about as is and what can be, and you can design this together. And then the operational rigor, which we did have, but we are getting better and better and better and more specialized. So maybe cybersecurity was one thing we did. We, by the way, or BCP was something we always did. It's not a new design concept for me, but the should I say the seriousness with which we do it now is so much more, and so the world is taking it more seriously.
Yeah. So I think a good point you mentioned about the talent, we have tier two, tier three, the talent is available. We are training the talent. I think I would just like to take your views on that. We're talking about cross functional teams, which are focusing now on the innovation. So any views on this aspect as well? That you always spoke about, the kind of talent available, the way we are training, the way, you see the cultural imbibe, the talent does it. So what about, some of these cross functional talent to support more on the innovations which are aligned more to global strategy?
So our hiring is different, right? Right from there, earlier you just you know they did X, Y, Z, and that was your tick mark. Now, if you see anyone looking for a GCC head, and it's hundreds of them on the internet, they're looking for a mix of a lot of things. Who understands where you fit strategically in the global picture. Someone who has digital maturity, because all operations are digital first now. And then how are you adopting for now it is Gen AI, tomorrow it will be something else. How data was the new oil and now it's the old oil. And how to collaborate. And a very interesting thing in India is also how we collaborate with the startup ecosystem. So we have very niche startups doing very, very cool stuff. people like my organizations or where I've traditionally worked, we can give the scale, but there is no dearth of ideas. So there is so much partnership. This was not. It was not present. I'm not saying that they weren't startups before, but we didn't think that they could work in tandem with the rest of the GCCs. That's how the competitive differentiation that the GCC wants to bring. The entire talent cycle is towards that. So of course you continuously upskill. I was reading somewhere that I think almost 70% of the talent is consistently reskilled, upskilled. A little more in the older GCCs or the older, I don't know, COEs or whatever they were called, rather than the new age. The way they work has also changed immensely. I think it's a factor of COVID and not linked to GCCs, perhaps. There's so many new models of work, which means you have access to so much more talent. If you're not fixated that they must be right here in front of me where I can see and touch them, you can work with anyone across the world. And that opens up so many doors for us.
Yeah, I think a good point again you brought about, the startups. And a lot of time that we keep hearing about the agility that, we bringing any GCCs or the companies we try to bring or our people are actually looking, each of these centers as more like a startups and bringing that agility. I think that's a good point. And it's very good to look at that. That's creating a uniqueness here. And a good thing what you mentioned about Gen AI as well, since now you spoke about AI. I think let me ask you my next question related to AI only. So, are we seeing Greenfield GCC being designed as AI first capability hubs while Brownfield centers are being re architected? What patterns are you seeing as emerging?
I absolutely agree with your statement, Rama. They are Greenfield is being designed with AI as a core, not as an add-on, not as a tick mark, but explicitly that what Gen AI capability should be in depth in my operating model, in my platform that I am creating. So it is a core value proposition that I will be your AI center. And even so I'll come to Brownfield later, but what is so they're designed with AI as the core, if I may say. Then they are, like I said, for product engineering or digital R&D or cross-functional, cross enterprise innovation. What can they do? So the design charter starts with that what would you do? That is creating either revenue, customer satisfaction, or competitive differentiation, or
Mhm.
all ideally. And then you also have this again, it's nomenclature, but the whole zero cost thing, right?
Yeah.
That of course there's a cost differentiation and there's nothing to be ashamed of, or if it brings us business. Can this cost saving that you have fund your GCC here so such that it's actually net zero? So not in a carbon credit way, but in a business way. So that's very possible. Of course, it will become more and more expensive as it goes, and like everything else. But they're being designed with that thought process. Brownfield, essentially, they were started as execution hubs and very good transaction processing or execution hubs. So traditionally, they would start with easy processes, which they felt were low priority initially, though that is not true now. So they are also trying to catch up. So they are reskilling, they are creating continuous learning, they are trying to modernize. Now, this includes their infrastructure, their investments, their people. They need to unlearn some things and do things differently if they must be on par with the new greenfield GCCs, right? Because at the end of the day, it is creating a competitive advantage. So the earlier drivers don't apply as much, right? Earlier we were great at English speaking and we were cheaper and it was enough. And other countries have caught up, very consciously trained towards that. So now you could also go to Mexico or a Poland and they are equally appealing cost wise, perhaps. You could go to other places in Southeast Asia. They are consciously building capabilities, but so now we need to do better in other things. So brownfield GCCs are consolidating their tools, their stacks, their people, and upskilling. They have the people. They just need some retraining around. AI is new for everyone, so it is not that it can't be learned. And then tomorrow there will be something else. So absolutely, there is a whole design change in when there's something new, let's start right and get the best of the breed or the newest possible future ready, all the favorite terms we like to use, right?
Yeah.
So cloud native, future ready, cyber security enabled, best of talent. So there absolutely is a change in how they are being designed. So when we are selling as a services provider, you and me, the it is ROI calculations are absolutely different now, right? Why should they come? Just a cost savings is not enough.
Yeah.
How will they scale faster, up or down, depending on the market? How will we innovate faster? Why can we improve things faster? We've done this before for others, and that makes a lot of difference to the perception of coming to India. And the government support, right? Earlier, it was not considered easy to set up in India, and that's not. I wouldn't say it's changed overnight, but it's changed positively.
And in fact, a good point, what we're referring to is that the brownfields are going to continue, okay? Because you need to kind of, meet the SLAs, you need to deliver. I think the high end being an innovation center is very important because, the customers today are also changing. And I always keep saying that if you are coming to India, India has a very large population. So, you also use India population for your product. And, the population can also help with the innovation centers improving your products or helping you launch new products. I think that's a very important aspect. Anything you want to kind of also mention here relating to the kind of a government changes or the supports which are there?
So, why is India more attractive from a government
Yeah.
perspective? Sure. Yes, the if you just see the GCC, there's a GCC policy by state, and I would see this in Saudi and Middle East earlier. A proper defined IT policy, and not so much. Perhaps there was, but not taken as seriously. The incentives are good for someone starting a GCC in India. If you look at Maharashtra government just came out with one, UPMP have come out with one. Karnataka and Telangana are way ahead. They've anyways been at the forefront of this. And Pune traditionally has a lot of BFSI GCCs, but not because of a government effort. And I'm sure it was pleasant, but the push has come now. And we're seeing that change also. There's massive incentivization for creating jobs in areas other than the metros. And this is a good thing for all of us, right? Like less crowded roads, no need to leave home. And that's a big factor. And the same pay scale wherever you are, which was not true earlier. When I started working, if I wanted a high salary, I had to go to Mumbai. I wouldn't get it in Pune, and it's only 4 hours away. And that's not true now. In the last 10, 15 years, I have been working from wherever I am, earning the same because I can travel anywhere and the company is all right with it. And that's a mindset change, right? That has come across, which was not there before. So I think the government is doing a great job. I see at all the GCC summits, at all the NASCOM summits, at all the industry coverage, that there is presence from the government and they are advocating for people to come here and they're making it easier and they are selling for us while we are also selling India to the world.
In fact, in the recent NASCOM summit earlier this week, our CM, Mr. Fadnavis spoke about, the GCC policy and the stuff, differently they're trying to do. So that's really good. And, they were at Davos and you see India also helping in terms of, the second point from a supply chain perspective. So yes, that's a good thing what you also brought about. And yes, Pune offers you both in terms of, the being in I would say, closer to Mumbai, being a city like, Mumbai, and also having all the advantages of, having the universities and academias there. So, thank you for bringing that point. I think very important other point specifically for the US and Europe or, the customers which are considering GCCs in there. What strategic priorities should they focus on first? Customer insights, sales play, go to market alignment to ensure long term relevance. Your views on this?
Sure. I think India is extremely attractive. I'm very, and they must come, encourage all your viewers to come. I would say, in my view, firstly, the strategic or customer insight, the market alignment. So what can we do extra for your customers in a GCC from here? Provide a feedback loop, provide decision intelligence, digital listening, all of the above actually. So you really hear what the customer is saying or asking or looking for and share that back in a way that it can be incorporated in the product design or in the customer service interactions or whichever way. So yes, absolutely insights about the customers and market intelligence. And it's not that it doesn't happen now, but we can also focus on it. Secondly, would be how can I accelerate your go to market? customer first always, but then what is it we're selling? How can I support sales analytics? How can I support the pricing models? Any other activities, core activities, proposals that go out, the feedback, the priority support for customers, customer success operations. This can all increase or improve your revenue velocity. And this is different from your old school memes that you had of India being the call center. That's not what I mean. It really actually aligned to your go to market, where you decide the go to market together. Then thirdly, I would say your product or digital maturity. And this we rank really high because we've been doing very well for a long time, pre JCCs and whatever the next trend may be. Right. So we are digitally strong. We are aligned. We could suggest how to scale up faster. Cheaper is not making the cut anymore. That's a given. All of these will, ensure that you're not operating in isolation. It's integrated what you set up with your product, with your customers, with your commercial teams, with your engineering teams. And then there is value to be had, right? Then you are actually creating some differentiator, some innovation, some value. It doesn't even need to be something new. It just you can do it better, much better, and that's good enough to start with. So confidently, how confidently can you innovate? How quickly can you go to market? How fast can you scale? All of these are good factors to think about if they are coming to India in terms of priorities.
Yeah, I think again a very interesting point. What we're saying that we are building today our GCCs around outcomes, and these outcomes are very important. Whether you help you in terms of improving your revenue, whether in terms of the feedback from the customer, the NPV. Really, when we used to talk about the net promoter scores that we were talking about, and you're also talking about in terms of how's that you could increase your market there. And GCCs today, I think you rightly brought about play a very very important role which is there. So I don't know, this is more on a lighter side. You watch, cricket.
Yes.
Yesterday India won against Zimbabwe with 72 runs.
Well, but we lost the match before that, so it's you win some, you lose some.
So, one rapid fire question, one business mantra every GCC leader should live by.
Any activity that they take on should I would say, either improve revenue or customer experience or a competitive advantage or bring about some innovation. Ideally, all, but that's hard. So, at least take one of these. Then there is a natural purpose to the GCC. So, that's what I would recommend.
Yeah. And what's your favorite pastime? Do you get to watch all these matches or?
No, I read obsessively whatever I can, whenever I can while traveling.
Yeah. Wonderful, Reena. Any other points do you think our viewers should know with your experience? Because you have a vast experience, putting it together in such small video. It's not, we're not doing justice to it. So any other point do you think you would like to share with our videos?
I think we don't highlight enough. We do some exceptional work out of India, and we've done it always. We just don't highlight enough. So, for instance, the kind of impact that some of the very regular projects have is absolutely amazing. I've seen now at TechWave that we do work in financial services. So something as small as like a FX platform that we created is actually getting rolled out globally. It's working so well in Australia. We're using utilities and AI for monitoring public infrastructure with use cases we couldn't even imagine if we were, sitting down to ideate. We're seeing immense value across grid data hubs, AI. I mean, this was something I had experienced when IoT came as well. We did a lot of fun use cases, and then those who had budgets, uh, invested, but it kind of quietened down after a while. Now I'm seeing such an appetite for trying something new, something different, and we're doing great work. So I think we really ought to celebrate it more. We don't do it enough.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point, and that brings us towards the end of it, Reena. So it was very good to hear from you, and especially like when we spoke about the GCCs improve how fast that this is how they're learning very fast from the customers and how quickly they can go to market, how confidently they are innovating. The drivers have changed, the KPIs have changed, and the outcome has become a major important aspect to it. So thank you so much for sharing with our viewers your knowledge today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Rama. I really appreciate you.
And for the viewers, thank you so much for tuning into the special episode of Boomer Bharat. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on the ideas and innovation shaping our world. If you have any thoughts or stories to share on this topic, we would love to hear from you. You could connect with me on LinkedIn, SRK Game Changers, or drop your questions on our website, srkgamechangers.com. Until next time, namaste from Boomer Bharat.